Hello, and thank you for tuning in with us today. We are Phi Theta Kappa's Phi Tau Chapter based in North Texas Community College in Fort Worth. And we are so excited to share our HIA project with you. We hope that it makes as much of a difference in your life as it has in ours. So stay tuned, stay safe, and stay healthy.
For this year's HIA project, the Phi Tau Chapter has chosen to do Theme 7. Theme 7 is life and death. We would like to state that life and death and the stories we tell about them frame the realities in which we exist and encode what we believe are our inheritances and legacies.
This year, for our Honors in Action project, the Phi Tau Chapter hosted interviews among many people in our local community. We asked them a few questions to gain more information about how COVID-19 has impacted their jobs, the businesses surrounding them, and their day-to-day lives.
Do you believe before the pandemic that there have been things in your work life that you had taken for granted? Did you imagine yourself missing going to the office or having a steady job, if that's what you had?
Work life, it's really changed with the pandemic, and post-pandemic we didn't have the regulations, the safety aspect that we've had heightened of social distancing at work, forcing people to wash their hands, putting folks at this time clock where they actually are 6 to 8 feet apart, taking temperatures every day, monitoring folks when they come in, the associates. We do the thermal scan temperature. They walk up to a little device, they put their forehead in the little silhouette, and it automatically takes their temperature, those things like that.
Yes, I have taken for granted just normal walking in, smiling, saying hi to people, being nonchalant about just walking around, and just the normalcy of everyday life that you don't realize till it's taken away.
Since the pandemic started, we don't have as much as hours as we can get. So yeah, I did kind of take that for granted.
The basic everyday freedoms. We went to the office every day because we were deemed essential. So once we fell into that category, we would go into the office every day.
What is one way that you have been affected by COVID that most people wouldn't realize?
Well, directly family related in my household, my wife, she's a full-time recruiter that works on commission only, and this year she's lost over 65% of her income. So that's a personal hit as well, because it affects my home and my livelihood, which is great. I'm able to be in an essential job function, but with her personally, since we do rely on two incomes, with her losing over 65% because of her being a recruiter and the field that she's in, it kind of took a major dive that affected us tremendously.
One way I've been affected and my family greatly is being unemployed because of the pandemic. In early April, March, I took a good assessment of my workplace and realized that it was no longer going to be safe for me to be in that environment due to the pandemic and the precautions they were taking. My family's most important to me, and I did choose my family over employment. Like I said, and around July, August, my family did actually get sick with COVID. I was fortunate that I did not get it, so I was able to take care of my two children and my husband and keep it from spreading from our household. It was very interesting and very scary.
No one's allowed in my house anymore. It's only my family. We set rules. We walk in, we wash our hands, we do all this stuff. It's just to take precaution. We wash down everything we buy. It's just a lot. We do, I guess, the extra mile just to not get it.
My mother passed away from COVID, so in this summer, from a I guess a related aspect of COVID, depression, a nursing home, and couldn't have any interaction with the outside world other than through a window. Yeah, it's definitely affected. I think everybody's everyday normal life.
What is your legacy through your work? When COVID-19 hit, Did it change? Were you forced to change your legacy?
I had to stay in compliance with the CDC and local federal regulations for the pandemic to make sure that our building was not only at a standard, but a higher standard. I hope that they take that with them to where they can remember what we implemented in the groundwork that was out there. And then, hopefully down the road, as I continue to go through my career, then I can set that standard. And when I do decide to move on, that legacy in my building or even with the company itself, because it was a corporate implementation that I helped start over almost 10,000 associates and over 150 warehouses. And the good thing about it too is just not only me, but I'm able to transcend my legacy into the other managers as well too.
My legacy through work was being an essential worker and providing household products to the house. So I was in a warehouse, so I got the products onto the trucks and out to the customers. So when COVID hit, work got really crazy. Lots of orders came in. People were trying to stay safe and stay home. So being a company that delivers to home, when I say it got really busy, you couldn't even imagine how many orders we had. We couldn't even keep up. We actually shut down for a week to try to catch up at one point because we had too much. Our crew went from 8 to about 300 within a month, which was really scary in itself because of the pandemic. Definitely was forced to change my legacy, could no longer provide for my family. I went from being somewhat of a contributor to the household to just having to be a stay-at-home mom and do the best that I could from home without any income, which is a struggle. But we got through it together, the family.
It's just someone that's always positive, I guess. Someone unselfish. I like to think myself as unselfish, as someone that's humble, someone that's just looking out for others before myself. I guess in a way it did. I have to be more, selfish, just to take care of myself.
Future growth with more jobs for the local community. Be able to grow the business. Every business wants to grow naturally.
How do you think COVID will change the world of work? What legacy will COVID leave?
A lot of the businesses that are out there, I think, have some of them have fallen. Most of them have closed because of it. And it's unfortunate because a lot of those are different industries, like the service industry, restaurants, hair, nails, stuff like that, where those businesses are relied on people coming in. If you have somebody that's at home and actually probably exceeding a little bit better than what they're doing, because I think if you're in the office environment and a work environment, your stress level is a little bit higher. And then when you're at home, you're able to do the things that you need to do because you're in your comfort zone. And it also allows that work-life balance as well, too.
I really, truly hope people learn a lot of lessons from COVID. I know the beginning of what I saw, I didn't like. But I know when it comes to companies, productivity and money sometimes will be above all. But I hope in the fact that, people lost moms and dads and sisters and brothers, that it's not getting a package, it's people's lives that they're really messing with. And I hope that they learn a lot of lessons and fix everything that's wrong with their infrastructure when it comes to safety.
A lot less hours, I think, because I don't think we're going to stop anytime soon. The cases are growing, so a lot less people in their working space. Don't take stuff for granted. Don't be grateful what you have. I guess spend more time with your loved ones because you never know.
It's going to make us all a little bit more aware of our surroundings, the freedoms that we had prior to COVID. Everything from social distancing to wearing masks every day, etc. So who knows, it may become a part of our life. I think it's going to change the way everybody thinks about their future, their families, etc. Back then, a lot of people didn't know what it was. I think we, as a society, have grown daily, and we still learn daily about this pandemic. I think that the populace has learned, and Unfortunately, with social media, I think that everybody's learned that you can't rely on social media for aspects of daily living. So it's real. I think it's here to stay. Vaccine is coming, not soon enough. But I think the test there is to see how effective it's going to be and how long it's going to take effect.
Has your mental health status changed due to COVID? Does your company provide resources for mental health problems during this time?
My mental health has not changed at all. My mentality has changed big time to a point of actually being more aware of things, but I haven't had any feel of losing my job, or which is great because of the industry that I'm in. I'm considered, as they would say, essential workforce, but just as a mental health, as having a problem or an issue regarding COVID-19, no, because the benefit about it, and I'm blessed to say that I was in a company to where I never had to lose any time other than any personal time I took off myself, or have to shut down for any reason because of the pandemic. They have an 800 number that you can call, so you can go a couple levels. You can go to the local level, and you can talk to your local HR. If it's something that's kind of small, you can just kind of get something off your chest or off your mind. But there is something that either mental health or even any kind of situations where you'll need that extra professional help, there is an 800 number that is free of charge that the company actually carry, and they actually tell people that if they have any issues with that, to call the number. And if I'm not mistaken, we've had a couple people that were actually offered that number to call because they're having such a hard time.
Yes, my mental health has dramatically changed. Everything about this situation has worn on me and my mentality. I've tried to stay very strong for my kids and try to show by example that as long as we're safe and we're smart, we should be all right through all this. As far as my company, I was aware of a hotline they had in regards to you could talk to people if you were struggling with mental health issues. Even I think if your family had issues, they would reference you to places. But like I said, it was just a hotline that I knew of.
At first it did. It really messed me up because staying home all day, which it does take a toll. You want to go out with people, you want to see people, but as I got more months into COVID, I guess I got used to not seeing as much people. I feel more comfortable being alone, I guess I would say.
I would probably say yes. It's very difficult going to work and coming straight home pretty much. So I think it's affected, just about everybody's been affected by it, especially people with kids that are homeschooling it. We're a small company with just 3 people, so larger companies I'm sure will have more of an impact on having, guidelines for employees, et cetera. But being a small business, we don't have the means to actually do a lot of that, so we rely on governmental input, et cetera, to guide us through that.
COVID-19 has changed the realities in which we exist within our families and within our communities. The legacies and inheritances that we worked so hard to build have been torn down right before our eyes. Our community, our families, and our lives have been forever changed by this pandemic. From the rubble, we will rebuild legacies and inheritances that reflect not only the struggles that we face, but how we persevered. On behalf of the Phi Tau Chapter, we would like to thank the participants for agreeing to do the interviews. Stay safe, everyone.